Come back.
I always come back.
Run! Everybody good?
No!
Why do they always have to go bigger?
Hey nerds, just Jamie here with... Oh, I'm actually by myself today. I'm going to do a review, as a matter of fact. Back in June, a little movie called Jurassic Park Dominion was released, and I went to see it at a drive-in theater. The first Jurassic Park movie is absolutely my favorite movie, and I have mostly enjoyed most of the sequels. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that this is one of those. This movie, of course, kind of brings the series full circle. It takes a lot of the cast from the first set of movies, combines them with the cast from the most recent movies, brings back a couple of familiar faces that we really haven't seen very much at all through the whole series, and kind of closes the book. Time is a flat circle, whatever, it all comes together. The basic idea here is that Dodson from the first movie, who's kind of like the OG villain of the series, is back. And his company is kind of back in the fold in the world of dinosaur genetics. Dodson, a lot of people might not remember unless they really like Jurassic Park like I do. Dodson is the original bad guy that pays Wayne Knight's character Dennis Nedry to steal the dinosaur embryos in the first Jurassic Park movie. He's in one scene, you never see him again. He's back now as the villain in this movie. So again, I said it brings together the cast of both sets of trilogies. There are some fun moments within that. There is some fun dialogue and interactions between Malcolm and Owen, or Dr. Grant and Owen. Even Dr. Grant and Ellie Sadler, who really only shared one movie and kind of one or two scenes of a second movie in the original trilogy. So there's some good stuff to see here. There's some fun moments. The dinosaurs, of course, always look cool in these movies, so that could be worth the price of admission. Again, I saw this movie on the giant screen of a drive-in theater, so we were seeing dinosaurs essentially life-size. So that's a cool experience, but it doesn't really quite overcome the shortcomings of the movie. First of all, this movie leans very heavily on this spy adventure angle. There's an entire motorcycle chase through the yellow filters of a generic Middle Eastern city. That's kind of unnecessary in a Jurassic Park movie. It's not, I don't think it's what people go to a Jurassic Park movie to see. We go for the dinosaurs, of course. And of course, there are dinosaurs in this. There are dinosaurs in the city scenes. There's a raptor chase. There are two giant meat-eating dinosaurs ransacking a city. There are other sort of Triceratops subspecies during this chase. So there are some interesting visuals, but I don't think that it's, like I said, I don't think it's what people go to a Jurassic Park movie wanting to see, sort of a spy movie motorcycle chase through a generic Middle Eastern city. They, of course, introduce new dinosaurs, as they always do. This time, the new big bad is the Gigantosaurus. Now, I'm a little bit of a dinosaur nerd myself, so I have mostly managed to get past the inconsistencies and the inaccuracies of the Jurassic Park film series because they have given themselves a backdoor to that. I think in the first Jurassic World movie, they said, hey, we've mixed these dinosaurs' DNA with other animals' DNA. That's why things aren't quite exactly the way they would be in nature. Nevertheless, when the doctors and the paleontologists are talking about dinosaur species and saying, well, it's bigger, and we know from the most modern information that maybe it wasn't, that kind of still irks me personally. So the new big bad dinosaur is a Gigantosaurus, giant, two-legged, theropod carnivore, much like the T-Rex. For a long time was thought to be bigger. We now know it was likely lighter and more fragile than a Tyrannosaurus Rex. The other odd dinosaur choice they make is to bring in a species called a Therizinosaurus, which is a big two-legged dinosaur that's not a meat eater. Actually was a herbivorous, a plant eater. And the gimmick with this dinosaur was that it had three very giant, like 10-foot long claws on its hands. But The first scene that we're introduced to that movie brings in another sort of thing that I had a little bit of trouble with, which is the outward antagonism of some of these dinosaurs. I think in the first Jurassic Park movie, they do a pretty good job of presenting most of the dinosaur behaviors as just their natural behavior as predators. They're just doing what they do. It's not because they're good or bad. It just so happens it's what they're interested in. Now, the raptors in the first movies push that envelope a little bit, but they're just, again, they're just presented as very intelligent. Again, not necessarily antagonistic. They're just after an easy meal. In this movie, they really add a lot of anthropomorphizing of some of the dinosaurs, which I don't really care for. The big raptor, Blue, who's kind of like Owen's raptor buddy, they do a lot of humanizing of that creature, which I don't think is really appropriate in a movie like this. And like I said, a lot of the other dinosaurs have a level of aggression that indicates sort of like actual bad intent and not just natural predatory behavior. So that kind of irks me a little bit. Maybe I'm being a little bit too literal and want too much scientific accuracy out of a movie that has genetically created, dinosaur antagonists and protagonists. Maybe I'm looking too deeply into it. But it's not what I wanted to see personally. I think this movie features a lot of things that people don't necessarily go to a Jurassic movie to see. So those are some of my basic issues. Now, again, like I said, there are some fun moments. This movie brings everything, to a full loop. Dodson comes back as the bad guy. You've got Dr. Grant. You've got Dr. Sadler. You've got Dr. Malcolm from the first movies, that's Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum. And then you've got Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Isabella Sermon coming back from the more recent movies and their characters, and everything comes together. So it seems like they were trying to create a closed loop. Again, I think it was to mixed effect, unfortunately. The first Jurassic Park movie will always be my favorite movie. I shouldn't say it will always be. It will likely always be my favorite movie. It's going to be a hard one to replace. But unfortunately, I don't think Jurassic World Dominion even comes close to that level of quality. I've seen it once, and unfortunately, I've probably seen it enough. I think that's it for my review of Jurassic World Dominion. And I'll see you next time on Nerd Bomber vs. Movies.